Hi, I'm Jericho, and we are hanging out today having some conversations with some of the people that went on our 2024 outreach trips with our church all throughout this last year. We send teams all around the world to partner alongside our nonprofit partners and also here within the United States. And we have Natalie here today sharing with us about her trip experience. Natalie, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where you went, who you guys served with, and why you went.
Yeah, I'm Natalie. I've been going to this church for, 10 years now, and I think I've been on the worship team for about 2 to 3. We ended up going to Burnsville, North Carolina, and we served with Samaritan's Purse, which I know is an organization we work with quite frequently. They were awesome, but yeah, that's where we ended up going.
And you guys went beginning of November.
Yes.
Post Hurricane Helene.
Yes.
Yeah. So it had been like a month and a half. What was that like when you guys showed up? I mean, there had been organizations working there for those several weeks before.
Yeah.
Did you guys work on with homeowners and helping restore the damage in their homes?
Right. Yeah. So when we got there, I mean, the destruction was still very much prevalent. I mean, you go down and there's just houses that have just been demolished. There's semi trucks that are just in the gutter, just insane. But there was a lot of work that had been done already by a lot of the organizations. What we were doing is we were working with, majority of our team was we were doing mud outs, and we were working with one homeowner, and basically her entire basement was flooded with about 2 feet of mud. And so our job was to go in, shovel all the mud out, put it in buckets, run it up the ramp, put it in a wheelbarrow, and then take it to a designated spot. And so this was pretty much our job for every day. And it was a lot of work, but super rewarding.
Do you have a core memory or conversation or someone that stands out to you on this trip, whether it's someone you went alongside with helping or whether it was part of the crew, anything like that you can share?
I think what was pretty amazing was the homeowner. I mean, she had pretty much everything just taken away from her. I mean, memories, and we were finding, old photos and things as we were digging through the mud. It was awful, but the way she was so positive and just so, able to see the goodness still was, truly remarkable to me. I mean, she felt more like a blessing to me than I did to her, just how full of love she was and just how grateful she was that she even had just running water, or she got donated some boots, and she just had a very good outlook for a really awful situation that she was put in.
Yeah. I know as you're talking about that, I was thinking about so many people in our church that might feel really intimidated about doing what you did because it, you're working with people who've seen so much loss and are going through so much. It's hard to know what to say and how to show up and have a posture that is actually helpful and not just kind of superficial and trivial of patting ourselves on the back, helping people. How did you see yourself and your team navigate that and allowing God to work through and speak through you in a meaningful way? When it maybe did feel intimidating or I don't know what to say to this person.
Right. Well, I know for one of the days, our job was kind of going through some of her belongings and what was able to be salvaged or what was, kind of need to be trashed. And I think what I really enjoyed doing was finding something and asking her about it. Hey, what is this? But, what are memories that you have of this? Or just kind of getting more conversational about it and seeing, what part this played in her life. And I think it kind of opened up for more conversation. And it wasn't so much so oh, I'm here to help you, but hey, I'm just another person. We're just having a conversation about this. I think it kind of helped her navigate okay, yeah, this was a memory I had, but it's okay to let this go. I remember there was this dish I had found and I didn't know what it was. I said, hey, do you know what this is? And she goes, oh yeah, it's for sauerkraut. And I was I don't, what do you mean? She goes, oh, it weighs down the sauerkraut when I used to make sauerkraut. She goes, oh, well, guess I'll have to get some new ones. It was just very easy for her to just kind of have a conversation about it and then let it go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have maybe you can encapsulate it into one word for the trip?
Eye-opening, maybe. I think, at least for me, I saw just how little we really need I think, especially for me, I think I take for granted so much of what we have. It's just a guarantee, food, running water, clothes, shoes. And I mean, these people have nothing, just what they were able to leave with the clothes on their back. And so I think for me, it's like we have such an access of, all these, materials, and we really don't need so much. And, when these people were just blessed with just having, an extra pair of boots.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say to somebody who might be considering, like, as they're listening to our conversation, like somebody that might be considering going on a trip? We have a lot of folks that might feel like, yeah, I've never been on a trip, or I don't know if this is for me. Like, I don't know if I have any skill sets to offer. Like, what would God even do with me on one of these trips?
Oh, God can use you in many ways, but I'd say do it. I mean, I had never been on a mission trip. This was something I'd always really wanted to do, and I didn't really know what I would be doing, but I knew that just by showing up, God would use you. God would use me, but he would also use anybody. I mean, one of the people I worked with, she just was there to just talk with the homeowners and just sit with them, and that was probably a bigger role than my role even was. God will use you wherever you are needed, and if he calls you to it, he's going to use you.
Yeah, I love that. Just the power of presence and just being
for sure
with people.
Yeah.
Like, that's such an important role as a church that we can have, and I love that you shared that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.